the spoon has a number of symbols. I think the national lottery was being sort of discussed, and so is life a game of chance? There's a little spinner which is actually carved out from the solid piece, and we used to play a game as children. We went for a penny walk. You toss the coin up. If it went to tails, you turn right. If it went to heads, you turn left. And is life a game of chance? So do you spin it? And you have the number 13, because that particular year there was a court case in which children were involved, and they were asked, the judge was asking the question, did they know the difference between right or wrong? And so, is life just a game of chance, or do we know the difference between right and wrong? That floats, and of course that sinks. And it's quite incredible to think that that little bit of wood, that represents the ship, and that sinks. And of course, you know, with those people perishing, the only hope you've got is through Christ. The Lovespoon is all about time, and we were finding that the workshop, we were spending so much time with the public and dealing with the business that we didn't have any time for ourselves and our family. So I made this one to keep in the house, and we simplified things because people were coming in and starting to order spoons, and they would want them complicated. They'd want them similar to the ones I'd already made, and you know, it was difficult really to sort of limit yourself to the hours then. So that's why time, the subject of this one, is time is a precious gift. And that's what we were trying to sort of say, is that we must find time for ourselves and our family, and sort of separate it to the workshop one. The main news item on everybody's mind was the situation out in Scotland, the Dunblane tragedy. So we portray it with the sun with 16 rays overshadowed by a cloud, and of course the thistle. You've got then the feathers surrounding the spoon, representing the Sea Empress, which ran aground 1 inch. Then Jonathan Edwards lost the gold medal by just 1 inch that particular year. He ended up with a silver medal. It was very appropriate because it was our silver wedding anniversary. I thought after 25 years of marriage, I thought I deserved a medal, and that's the sort of trying to lighten really the serious part of the spoon.
There's a part in a psalm where it says that God will cover you with his feathers, which is, you know, a protection thing, which is one of the reasons why we use that. And the reason that they're split as well is because apparently in the North American Indians, if you had a split feather like that, it was a brave warrior, which symbolises Christ really as a brave warrior.
1997. It's made out of yew, and it starts obviously with the dragon. The Welsh Assembly was very much in the news, being voted on and being sort of considered what was going to happen. So that's why the dragon was there for starters. But as the year progressed, so news items we included, there was the accident, the death of Lady Diana. So we see the Tudor rose representing England's rose, and so we have Diana round the petals. And Mother Teresa died the same week, and one of her sort of quotations was that the ocean was made out of many drops. So we see M, T, and a little drop in the ocean for Mother Teresa. And the idea of the spoon is that the dragon actually represents evil. So you've got the dragon coming through the heart, through the shield, through the heart, and then the sword representing the sword of righteousness coming through the dragon. So you have battle between good and evil sort of going on throughout that year. You have the date is actually, there's a 1, there's a 9, there's another 9 and an 8, but there's 2 of them. And then there's B-A-B-E-L for Babel. So you have the Tower of Babel. And of course, the story goes that God, the people of Babel wanted to build a tower to heaven. And so he didn't want them to do that, and he gave them different languages so that they couldn't work together.
You couldn't understand them.
Yeah. And these jumbled up letters on the, what do you call this, a musical stave, isn't it? Jumbled up letters actually make the word communication. And the early Christians used to communicate with one another by using the sign of the fish. And then you have a spoon, but forks as well, because we glean things from museums and history books. And apparently it wasn't just Lovespoons that were made, but it was knives and forks as well. So we glean things from the past. One of the things I can remember about this was the fact that it was made out of pear. It was the first time I'd ever made a Lovespoon out of pear. So quite a nice spoon. And then you have, people were talking about the monarchy. How was it going to fare in the new millennium? So that's the reason for the crown. And you have 2 crowns on here. You have a crown of thorns and a more regal crown. So the idea is that you have like a throne, and then the world then. So the spoon, what it's saying is that the world is my footstool. And you've got the grapes and the wheat, of course. And it's just simply saying that on earth we pursue a regal crown, but the most important crown is the crown of thorns, really. This is carved to represent our pearl wedding anniversary, 30 years of marriage. And so we have an impression of pearls on the outside. Inside then you see an apple shape, which represents the Big Apple, New York, with the Twin Towers cut out for September the 11th. Initially what happened in America was referred to as the Second Pearl Harbor, hence the design for the spoon. We also have a shell with a central pearl and 6 symbols from the main religions of the world, because they're all seeking that pearl in the center. They're all seeking the same goal. At the bottom then it's shaped like a cave, because the talk was that Bin Laden was hiding in a cave, and the spoon is made out of sycamore. 2002, ER, Elizabeth Regina. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 crosses representing 50 years. It was the Queen's Golden Jubilee, but of course that particular year, the crown and the cross there, the Queen Mother died that year, so that was what we were recording. But basically we were counting our blessings. It's all about a pathway through life. And so we've got Castle Cork, where of course I was born near Castle Cork, and then we've got the Tenby lifeboat, and lifeboats where the lifeboat is stored, the sort of shed, the building for the lifeboat, and so those are the 2 places that we come from. And then we've got this pathway through life. You have the nativity scene, you've got the crucifixion, the Iraq War of 2003, and then you've got the Amnesty International sign, and it says, "Your word is a light to my path." And of course you've got the dragon's tail and the dragon's eye there as well. So that was the spoon for 2003, made from mahogany. What I did, I was watching the TV and I saw the aftermath of the London bombings, and people had laid flowers, and then we saw in the middle of the flowers there was a Canadian flag, the maple leaf, which you can see at the bottom. And I thought, when something like that happens in you know, a terrorist attack, it doesn't just affect the place that it's happening, as it was in London, for instance. It affects the whole world. And obviously somebody from Canada or with a Canadian connection had put this flag in position. And I wanted to portray that. So leaves are grown, you know, we have leaves from all sorts of different countries. And so this is portraying the V for HMS Victory. And it's then representing all different parts of the world, representing with different leaves. And also at the bottom then, you'll see the bottom of the maple leaf could actually be like the dove of peace, just at the bottom there. And so that was a lovely piece of oak. And you know, it sort of, the piece of oak really warranted something special to be made from it.
That one there is also carved in 2005. Quite a sort of simple message behind it. It's basically, you've got a bowl done in the style of like a fish, representing like the masses, and you've got a link there because you've got Christ on the cross. And the thinking behind it is that particular that event then was the link between the masses, and then you've got this sun at the top representing God and heaven, so it's the link between the two things. So that's the simple message behind that one there, and the wood for that one there, a bit of mahogany.
2006, it started out as one piece of timber like that, and we carved the links, and it's a very simple one. It's our coral anniversary. So you see a little ship, old-fashioned ship, sort of on a coral sea, because it was our coral wedding anniversary. And you had the name Zacharias and John, because it's a simple one really. The idea, this was the preparation for, as John the Baptist was the preparation for Christ, this was the preparation then for the largest love spoon. We experimented to see how we could join a spoon, and it gave me the idea for the longest love spoon. Made out of cherry, and it's got the date on there, it's got two hearts, it's got a little star then with a little candle, because of course that was the year that Nana died, 2008, and it's just a very simple spoon, and no more to be said about that really, except that of course Nana liked simple things, and that's why it was made in such a simple fashion.
And what we're going to do, we're going to carve a spoon in like the shape and style of a question mark, and on the stem of the question mark we're going to have a candle with a single flame at the top. We're going to have a bowl that's going to be like circular in shape, so representing the full stop of the question mark. And then on the shaft of the candle at the bottom there's going to be a phoenix. And what we're going to have then is the phoenix in the ashes in the wild flame. And as you pick the single flame of the candle up, the phoenix will rise from the ashes up the shaft of the candle, and it will rise up the actual spoon itself. And the reason for this then is to record the Chilean miners, because of course the escape capsule that they were released in was called the Phoenix 2. And then the other thing then, of course, the wood we're going to use for it is going to be a piece of ash. Now the reason for that, of course, it fits in with the phoenix rising from the ashes, but also because the ash cloud earlier in the year, which caused absolute chaos for people travelling. So that's how we're going to record 2010 or 2010, however you know it.